It was a dark night in San Francisco, and murder was just another part of the business.
Welcome to the Booby Trap Podcast, Wine Films Murder, where we uncork mysteries, spill secrets, and kiss betrayal on the lips. I'm Maybe Melons.
And Tata Baps. Tonight we're cracking open a granddaddy of all noir films, the Maltese Falcon from 1941. Lies, greed, trench coats, and a bird worthy of killing for.
So we pour a bold red to pair with the noir atmosphere. This red enters the room like it already knows the ending. Smoky depth, rich fruit, and a backbone of grit make this wine as hard-boiled as detective who sees too much and trusts too little.
In a world where greed has teeth and every clue tastes like trouble, one red wine plays for the keeps.
For the 1941 film The Maltese Falcon, we have Detective Sam Spade, hard-boiled, cynical, thirsty for answers, and a mood of bitter noir. Cigarette smoke, lots of that. Ambiguity and greed. Our perfect pairing. Help me out, Tata Karis.
Sure.
Okay, sure. Thanks for the assist. Red wine from Bricks and Columns Vineyards in Virginia. I think we do a lot of Virginia, right?
We do.
Well, we live there.
Yeah. Chris, I guess. Well, we're not exactly sure how to say it, but Curris is a bold, structured, dark fruit red with tension and attitude. This wine doesn't flirt, it stares you down, just like the Falcon itself. It has weight, intrigue, and danger. And Sam Spade would drink this while deciding who he trusts, which the answer is no one. So let's go ahead and give this a bit of a taste, and we'll give it 3 words of our wine review. I do think it's bold, fruity, and velvet.
I get the velvet.
Smoky too. Still a little smokiness.
It's dangerously close to a port, which I admire.
It's sweeter. It's sweet, but it's not overly sweet. It's really, I think, more of a semi-sweet, honestly.
It is because I can't.
It goes down very
I
nicely.
can't handle the super dry wines. I'm not even going to drink it if it's 'cause it just doesn't land well for me. So
What about this pair nicely with?
I think every red wine does, which is meat, steak. Even this with I see this with a nice even cut of pork.
I was thinking
Nice,
pork. Yeah,
nice cut of pork. I think would be delicious. Yeah, I think pork better, even more than steak.
yeah,
I usually say steak.
I know.
I said that like I really not just barbecue, but about
No, I was thinking like a roasted pork or something, like
yeah,
pork loin or something.
German, a nice German pork prepared. Yeah.
To our audience, how would you review this wine in 3 words? Let us know on social media. For our sip or skip verdict, I think we're both leaning towards it's sippable for sure. It's not suspicious. It's not straight to dill. It's definitely
It's
sippable.
definitely similar. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and enjoy our bottle of wine as we provide an overview of the film Maltese Falcon 19.
Cheers. So let's meet Sam Spade. He's a private eye with a sharp jaw and a sharper tongue. He's played by Humphrey Bogart in the role that made him a legend.
When his partner is murdered, Spade gets tangled in a web of deceit involving a mysterious femme-fatale, a treasury hunting crew, and a priceless statue, the Maltese Falcon, a black bird everyone wants but no one truly owns.
So as the bodies pile up, Spade stays 2 steps ahead with a cigarette in his mouth. Always. That's because Humphrey Bogart could not make a movie without a cigarette. Suspicion in the eye and one hand always on the doorknob. Well, so we've got some legends in this movie. We've got Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade, who plays the prototype noir detective. Mary Astor as Brigitte O'Shaughnessy, playing the classic femme fatale. Peter Lorre, we love Peter Lorre, as Joe Cairo. He's the creepiest little guy in the world, but he's still my favorite. Then you have Sidney Greenstreet as Casper Gutman, and this is his film debut, and he gets nominated for an Oscar.
Wow.
First time out. This movie was directed by the great John Huston, which I did not realize this, was his directorial, debut. After down a park on this one and only kept getting better with, some other films he directed with Humphrey Bogart, Treasure of the Sierra Madre, Key Largo, and The African Queen.
No.
Um,
So this film was actually adapted from Dashiell Hammett's 1930s novel. What's interesting is this novel was kind of the cornerstone of like that hard-boiled detective genre, and he wrote from experience. He actually worked as a detective in San Francisco for the Pinkerton Agency before he went into the army. He came back sick, so he wasn't really able to continue doing that later on, taking his hand up at writing, and this is where this story came from. So, during the time period too, there's a lot of those crime fiction magazines.
Mhm,
So that's kind of where the story first initiated in,
mhm.
and then later on became a novel.
The 1941 film, was actually the third adaptation of this of the Maltese Falcon. He had the one in 1931 named the Maltese Falcon. Satan Met a Lady, 1936. Let's face it, I don't know that I've seen any of those other two, and I'm a movie buff. The Define Film Noir is this 1941 version.
Sharp shadows, razor dialogue, and every frame is drenched in cigarette smoke, as we mentioned, as well as suspicion. And it basically birthed the blueprint. Were a couple more recent sequels actually of the story. One was The Blackbird in 1975, as well as Monsieur Spade, which is 2024. So that was the one I was saying from Clive Owen.
Gotcha. But yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Hudson storyboard actually every single scene before filming. And he actually reused many of the scenes from the earlier 1931 version of the same story. The man came in hot and organized and more ready, essentially.
This film was considered so sharp, so good. It was nominated for Best Picture and is now preserved in the National Film Registry. And I think that makes Humphrey Bogart, if I'm not mistaken, if I am, please let me know that Humphrey Bogart was in more Oscar nominated pictures than the other actor.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
All of these movies nominated for Best
Yeah.
Casablanca, we won
All right.
all of these.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So talking about Bogart, I mean, the role transformed him from, the supporting gangsters roles that he had been in to the leading man of the shadows.
After this, Casablanca.
Yep.
I mean, who doesn't? There's nobody. You don't even have to be a movie buff to not know that one. Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre also joined him in that movie together with Humphrey Bogart. This, I guess John Huston was starting the trend that current directors use when they find actors they like to work with.
Mhm.
They recycle and recycle and recycle. Tim Burton does it
Yeah.
probably more notoriously than anybody, any director right now. It's a formula that if it works, it's getting you Oscar nominated. Stick
Keep
with
with
it.
it. Yeah.
Stick with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the Maltese Falcon prop. So there actually were several of them made, but one was bronze and it weighed over 45 pounds. And unfortunately, Bogart actually injured his foot when it was dropped. So,
Um,
I mean, you could see how hefty it was in the later scenes when you see it. And so 3 of the Falcons actually the statuettes were made for the production still exist, and they're conservatively valued at over $1 million each,
no.
which makes them some of the most valued film props ever made. And each of them is now worth more than, like, 3 times of what the film costs to make nowadays.
Leonardo DiCaprio, he has one.
Oh, does he?
I think it's him. I
Interesting.
think I read that someplace that he has, he does like to collect little trinkets, doesn't he?
Little
Or take
yeah,
them.
little
Or
trinkets.
take them.
Well, speaking more about the statuettes, the Maltese statuettes, they're actually fictional creations, but it was inspired by true life where the tribute of a falcon was actually sent by the Knights of Silver of Malta
Wow.
to Charles V of Spain in the 16th century. Knights of say it again?
I
Yep.
don't know if that's right, but I'm super impressed that I'm saying it. And
I am
I don't know if
impressed
it's
too.
right.
We don't know if it's right, but it sounds good.
But yeah, I'm speaking French.
Nice. Essentially, they were granted the island of Malta, Gozo, and Tripoli by the Emperor Charles V. And essentially, they had a feudal contract that required the knights to pay an annual tribute. And that was a falcon to the emperor. This idea of the falcon, it was more than just like a token gesture. It was actually symbolizing the knight's loyalty and service to their Holy Roman Emperor. Falcons at the time were very much highly prized in medieval Europe and especially nobility. These are the people that practice falconry. And the peregrine falcon, which is what is found on Malta, otherwise known as the Maltese Falcon, in particular, was renowned for its prowess and making it a very fitting tribute to signify honor and respect. This tradition of paying the annual falcon continued until 1798 when the order was expelled from Malta by Napoleonic forces. So, very interesting history. There's that full-on speech about the falcon and the statues, so there's a hint of truth in some of that, but the
Mhm.
falcon statues themselves are works of fiction. So those are the shadows and the stories behind the Maltese Falcon. Go ahead and pour yourself a smooth Purist red wine, and let's go ahead and step into a few scenes where the dialogue snaps, the stakes rise, and the hunt for that blackbird turns deadly.
You killed my husband, Sam. Be kind to me.
So it was interesting because when we first saw the scene, we're like, "Oh my gosh, we've never seen Humphrey Bogart smile."
I didn't know
Like,
he
so
had teeth.
yeah, we saw teeth, and of course he's sneering. He's not really smiling, although he does smile throughout the film. But it's a lot of sneering too.
Yeah,
So there's like, it's a weird thing where we think like, "Wow, he seems happy," and they're like, "Oh wait, no, he's just sneering at the
yeah.
person again."
It's intense.
Yeah, so there's a lot of contempt that he has. This is obviously his partner's wife, who he had been having an affair with. But
Face right off her.
yeah, it's
He
like,
wasn't even cold yet.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, he was taking off his partner's name, like, day 1
Oh,
from
yeah, and he
from the
there
building.
scraped off the window.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
and
crazy.
sucking off the face of the widow.
Yeah.
Well, because he had already been sucking off the face of the widow.
Yep.
Um,
You worry me. You always think you know what you're doing, but you're too slick for your own good. Someday you're going to find it out. Spade and Archer. Oh, yes, Miss Wonderley.
Hello? Yeah, this is Sam Spade. Where? Carnet Apartments, California Avenue, apartment 1001. What's the name? Miss LeBlanc. Okay, I'll be right over.
he spends a lot of time on the phone in this movie.
Yeah.
He takes a lot of calls. If he had a cell phone, you'd never be able to talk to him.
Well, it's interesting. This is a blueprint for more hard-boiled detective films, but, his secretary is on top of stuff. Like, he always
Uh,
has one person he can truly trust, and that's his secretary. And she's really she does care about him in her own way. Like,
mhm.
romantically, she's like, "Oh, hell no," probably, right, at the end of the day.
It was all good, and he did come to find out.
Yeah, I mean, but she's always trustworthy, and I feel like in general, like, you always find these detectives,
Yeah,
right? Where
they
the
always have.
secretary is the one they can always count on.
What was her name? Oh my goodness. She was always the wisecracking one. I cannot remember her name. She played this character a lot. I always liked her. She'd always be making Eve Arden, and she'd always be the wise,
Oh, yeah.
snarky comments. She was always, but yes, the trustee. Like when sidekicks were his thing.
Yes, she's a secretary, but she's also digging into information. She's risking her life to a certain extent. Oh, go to such and such address and pick up this and bring it here. You don't see her much in any of the scenes, but you can see there's that steadiness throughout any of these kind of detective. Like there's that one person that they can truly trust.
And more often than not, they're harboring some romantic feelings for him. Dio.
Geo, yeah, that was not that he was a detective,
It
but
happens a
still,
lot where there's some under because she never has a husband. She's dedicated to that job
right,
and to that detective. She's never married or has a life of her own.
right,
She just when she starts out, she's been there since 4 o'clock in the morning. But and a lot of them, they didn't do too much in this one. He's too busy sucking the face off of everybody else.
right,
Um, but he does call her Angel and Precious.
yeah,
He did that today. You'd be dragged in front of HR so fast. Well, first of all, if you kind of called anybody secretary today, but that's what they were. That's what she
right,
was.
yeah.
So don't
Well, keep in mind,
get
female
fussy about that.
secretaries are pretty much more modern.
Yeah.
Secretaries used to be men.
So I mean, when we talk about these things, we get it. They're not secretaries anymore, but we're talking as if at the moment in time, we get their assistants now. I made that mistake, but secretaries is what they were. Okay, and up until the 80s, that's what they were. I don't remember when it became a dirty word. I don't remember when that shifted. I blame the 70s.
Good time frame to blame
But there was always usually some of that underlying romantic tension.
Mhm,
You know, or they mothered them somehow.
right,
Eve Arden there never was because she was too much of a crackpot.
that's true.
But look at her. I mean, she's the prettiest one of the whole bunch,
She's very pretty, yeah.
except for that bow tie she was wearing.
Mr. Archer was so alive yesterday. So solid and hearty. And
Stop it. You know what he was doing? Those are the chances we take.
was he married?
Yeah, with 10,000 insurance, no children, and a wife that didn't like him.
Please don't.
So you could tell from the very almost like get-go, right, that She is an actor, she's playing him as much as he can from the get-go. Every scene, she's playing him. But it's interesting because when she first showed up, he kind of almost like the way that he looked at her was almost like he knew from the get-go
Oh, yeah.
that he definitely didn't trust her, and maybe that's from whatever past, but I don't like, she was kind of overplaying
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
And I think because, well, she starts off like, "Oh, I'm so innocent, and,
Mhm.
I'm really looking for, my sister. She's disappeared." And, I don't know. It was just the way that she says it, I
And
think.
there was innuendo.
Mm.
This is all this innuendo, and then she walked over to stoke a fire and put her butt in his face. That was purposeful. And he looked over. I mean, I was just like, wow. I mean, she was bringing it, wasn't she?
Every scene.
And you know what? Um, hey, turn a man's head, right? And but she wasn't.
But the thing,
I love those.
yeah,
Are you playing her or is she playing you?
right. And she was playing everyone.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Like, there was a lot more going on than you could ever imagine.
yeah. You got to pay. You got to pay
Because she
attention.
was a very good actress, once again, like,
Very
she could play it
accurate.
off. Well, not her as an actress, yes, she was, but I mean, like, her in this
Oh yeah.
character, she is playing
I believed
everyone.
her. I gotta tell you, if I didn't know better, I believed her right up to the end. I believed her
Yeah,
right up to the end until, they hauled her off. I mean, even then I was like, I think she's been wrongfully accused, but then of course, you have to have the big reveal and admit it all. But I guess, well, so much for that spoiler.
yeah.
Anyway, um, well, I mean, this is one of the most famous movies of all time. So if you didn't know,
Well,
I'm sorry. I didn't tell you what The Sixth Sense was about. So there's that.
there's that.
And read that for you. I watched a show not too long ago, and it's just like they like recently, and they gave them the name Sixth Sense, and they were so upset. She's like, "That movie's 30, like going on 30 years old. How did you not know?" If I'm reading this for anybody, I am really, really sorry. I love his overbite and the best overbite.
That, quote, "You always have a smooth answer. What do you want me to do?"
Stutter
So
is pretty funny. You got
well, it's so quick, the
you got.
wittiness.
Can I say that you've got to pay attention because these quips come along fast,
Now, it's
right?
not as quick as, his Girl Friday,
No,
because that one was, oh my gosh. Well, actually, you know what? I don't, even though that was fast, I think we had more trouble with EOA, but that was maybe not only
I was
the
busy.
the conversation, but it was just the scene jumps.
Yeah,
So
I was busy. I was just
it was too much, too fast.
yeah, yeah.
But that's, that was that guerrilla filmmaking, so that's a different story
You know,
altogether.
there's certain actors, and Peter Lorre's one of them. When they, Ray Liotta's one of them. Just like there's certain actors that have very distinctive styles. Ray Liotta had, not the best complexion, or a scar, or on their face, or just something else distinct about them. We're very well-known actors, and I picture 'em walking into the casting office, and somebody looking at them, Peter Lorre,
Mm,
going, "You're going to be a star," and he almost wasn't.
oh,
Almost wasn't. John Huston saved him
mm,
because he was relegated to B movies.
yeah,
He was a B movie actor just because of how he looked.
all
I
right.
mean, but John Huston gave him a chance, and this set him on the road to being a
Mm,
well-known actor. But I just visualized like this guy right here, instead of going security. I mean, because he's always looked like you wouldn't want to meet up with him in a dark alley. So he was perfect in these type of movies. What's our next one? What is Oscars?
the Giggle
When I heard that, I
for
was
Green
like,
Street.
that. Well, that was the Oscar right there. That was the Oscar nomination right there.
Yeah,
I was like, I love that. I mean, because he could have. He's a big guy. He
yeah,
could have done a Hardy's, like Santa Claus kind of laugh,
yeah,
but he does a giggle.
yeah.
I mean, way to go. Way to bring that in, right?
Yeah, it's unexpected. How about that?
It is. And let
Yeah,
me just tell you something that which brings in without John Huston's story, this could have been just like some film noir movies are, very hacky. And it's not my favorite genre, but some of them,
yeah,
there's a reason. Some of them are just not good. The dialogue is just meant to be cheesy and meant to be funny, but not. But this movie is what it is because yes, Bogey's got star power,
yeah,
but John Huston, under his direction, movies that could have been something much different than they
yeah,
were good classic movies with sharp dialogue, no scenes, not moving through a scene quickly, but not lingering too long. Like our first episode of the season was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. I don't really care who killed her anymore. I'll kill her just to this. good movie, but it's like, just we don't need to cover over every scene forever. So directors, I think, it makes a difference because I've seen a lot of movies. So that one step in the next direction, you've got a terrible movie, but only because if they were at the helm. That and second, I think's editing because
It's,
huge. I've seen unedited and edited version of Alien. It makes a huge difference.
I had so I was telling you I made that short film, and when we were in editing mode, there were two ways you could go about the story, and I actually like the kind of one way that we were thinking about editing it because it actually for me it was like this brings a lot more emotion into the story. And that's not the way that they decided to go, but it was like that for me was more drawing. So yeah, editing absolutely. And it's just
It's
shifting
almost
things
on
a little.
here. I mean, because it is a killer for a movie for me anytime where it's like, and when I say there's part of that movie could have been left on the cutting room floor. I'm looking at you, Postman. I'm just looking at you. I'm just like a movie that you get into and you can't get out of because I'm committed now. I mean, it's like this is what feels like 10 hours of my life I'm never going to get back, and it's mostly it's because of editing problems.
Now, one other thing, though, we talked about for Houston, his directing, but because he, once again, he was taking a lot of what he of this film from the 1931
Mhm.
version and like really word for word, like scene by scene. So I'm curious after watching this one, it would be interesting to go back to the
Yeah,
1931 version and watch it and
I would like to
see
do that.
what made it different. If it did, right? I'm going to assume it did.
Probably Bogey.
It could be right. It could definitely be the actors,
Hmm.
but maybe there were some other things that they did. So that's where it's kind of interesting to be able to compare an earlier version with, especially this is the fact that this is a third version of this film is interesting.
Yeah,
This is not the first one, and usually it's like, oh, the first one was the best. No, actually, we're saying the third one's the best,
yeah,
which is
which is not
unusual.
unusual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Harry, what is it? The stuff that dreams are made of. Huh?
And there it is, one of the classic cinema lines of all time.
Yep,
And it's not meant what you meaning corruption and greed, and it brought everybody to ruin. Right?
did.
Everybody. And so it's a classic line that we will spend hours on because they're an unraveling of what the meaning of it is. But in general, it is. It's about chasing, being greedy and corruption, wealth, and being corrupt and doing whatever it takes to achieve wealth. And I think for the Green Street character, it wasn't even about wealth. It was just he'd been chasing it for 14 years. He'd been chasing it for so long, he probably didn't even remember why he was chasing it anymore. But it was the end of so many people.
Yeah.
But it was a dream to have, and it's just crazy, right? So I love that. I had to look that up because I'm like, what's that famous saying in the Maltese Falcon? And what a powerful moment, right?
Yeah.
And through an overbite, which makes it even better.
Following the Falcon's trail from the first shadow to the final double cross and zoomed in on the moments where the lies hit hardest. So now let's go ahead and size up the whole film into our full noir review. So what's your favorite scene?
Gosh, I would have to say I'm gonna say it's that one because it's so iconic. And I know that I'm struggling with this, but again, as much as I hate to admit it, I mean, this is my God, this there's no doubting that this is one of the best movies of all time in its genre. It's just not my favorite genre.
Right. No, I
So
agree.
I appreciate it for what it is, and I value for what it is. Nothing, but because when I saw this on our schedule, like, what's this, the first thing I did was go, what's the saying? And I don't really get into this genre, but even me not watching these type of movies, I knew that saying. So that has to be
So I think my favorite scene, and it also maybe because there were some surprises or a surprise in it, was essentially where they're interacting. Him and Brigitte are interacting, and it's one of those things like it's her changing how she's acting for the situation,
Mhm.
right? Like, no, that's not the truth. She's like, okay, well, this is what really happened. And it's like, even that, you can't tell, like, is that the
Right.
truth now or not? And so both of them, they go from like, calm and just chatting to now like he's all intense and oh wait, now he's laughing and she's kinda like,
Yeah.
this, innocent person, and now she's not so innocent, and now she's worse, and there was just a lot that was happening in there, and when I say surprises, it's like, once again, like, Bogey was laughing, like, "What the heck? Like, what's going on here?" Like,
Mhm.
he's smiling, but then once again, it's like sometimes it then turns really quickly to, "Oh, no, he's not happy." Like, he's
Yeah.
not
Oh,
I don't think he's ever happy
when he's
in the
laughing, he's not
Yeah.
it's not like, "Oh, did you get that joke?"
No, no, no,
He
it's
thinks you're
definitely
ridiculous.
yeah, it's definitely something where I don't think he has
He's in on a joke that you're not in on,
yeah.
and he's basically mocking you, and you don't even know you're being mocked.
But yeah, it was just the way that they kept on switching it up was really
Yeah.
interesting. So
Yeah.
I did enjoy that scene.
Yeah. And thinking that they're in love with each other and they don't even know who each other is. This was the first time I've seen the movie from beginning to end.
I mean, I think a lot of
So,
times, you don't always see all the entire film. You see parts of it.
yeah, so this is the first time I honestly, I did not know it was gonna be her. I did not
Yeah.
know that was gonna be there.
Well,
Again, up until she finally just spit it out, I was like, Wait a minute, is she involved in this? Wait a minute." I just didn't see that coming.
I think when Green Street was talking about how she was the one that was doing it, and you're going,
Yeah.
"Wow, okay, that is
Yeah.
interesting," because I heard her scream thinking the worst for her in the sense of they're
Yeah.
doing stuff to her versus no, she's been the one that's been doing stuff to
Yeah, she's victim.
and
She's
manipulating everyone in the
yeah.
whole in every aspect of it.
Which is,
So,
is a
yeah.
common theme in movies. It's
No,
another one, so she's the femme fatale.
she is.
He picked wrongly because, he shouldn't have been, canoodling with, his partner's wife. Turns out she was the nice one, and, he sucks the face off of her, she walks out, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, that's going yeah, I'm not interested in her at all." I was like, "But, okay, alright, I
Uh,
can't keep up."
uh,
No, he's over here with this they missed an opportunity to say dame or doll. We heard precious. He actually refers to her as my, one true love. Angel, but never doll or dame. I was a little disappointed, I gotta tell you. I'm like, "Where's the doll? Where's the dame?" I thought these movies had dolls and dames in them, but
well, and it was even for his secretary, he's saying precious, but he kinda mixed it up a couple different times. Like, you would think, like, hey, for one person, you keep it the same.
I think he was a femme fatale in a suit. But again, I can appreciate it for what it is because, the film noir, it wasn't, as much as Orson Welles does it in his because he does the black film noir with the shadows, but, the shadows on the wall of the city that you see in the room and just the different angles. I don't know, one time I saw that there was kind of angled up and facing down. Oh, there was and you mentioned it when you were watching it, where it was a higher quality because some of the film
Yeah.
noirs were very grainy, very whatever because
It made it look very different than any
more
of the
money was
black and
put
white.
into it.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely, but it's like kind of you're looking at but other films, I don't know that I still notice the same quality or there's something different, and I don't know what exactly it is. I know I was kinda looking at yes, it's lighting, obviously, but it could be what kind of film was it recorded on. They were trying to do a lot more deeper focuses and stuff like that, but also the wide angle lens. So I'm wondering if, that also made more depth and resolution so that there's more focus on the
Mhm.
people, and maybe that's part that was really catching my eye.
Yeah.
In addition to their eyes were, like, glassy. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
very bizarre.
we have any film students out there, let us know. What is it?
Yeah, like I said, it was very interesting, and that part of it, in some sense, was kind of distracting a bit because I
Mhm.
was like, "What is that?" And
Everybody looked like they
I'm
had a
missing out
good
the
cr
story.
everybody had a good cry. Well, I don't know if you noticed too, the, uh, the whatever whoever he was, the landlord that came stumbling in full of holes.
Yeah,
Um,
the captain.
yeah, that was actually, John Huston's dad. So,
Oh, okay.
another Houston. 'Cause, I mean, because, um, we hear about the Barrymores and things like that of cinema, like, family royalty in
Right.
cinema. But the Houstons have got a pretty good pedigree. You've got John, you've got Walter, you've got Angelica, you've got Danny. You've got a pretty good pedigree in
Yeah.
Houston's there too. So,
Well, yeah, and I don't think yeah, I didn't really realize that before, so I didn't realize that connection.
I mean, what scene would this wine pair with? You think?
When I think about that velvetness,
Hmm.
it made me think of Sam Spade and just that kind of suaveness that
Yeah.
he portrayed and just how he was speaking too, right? It was kind of clear and to the point and just like I said, it felt more velvety in that his character and how he speaks to people. And that for me was the connection with the pairing of the wine.
I'd choose Peter Lorre because he's got that. I can't even how Peter Lorre talks is so distinctive. You don't have to see his face to know when it's Peter Lorre,
Although I
right?
felt like he definitely sounded different from here than he did in Arsenic and Old Lace.
His health failed him very fast, though.
Maybe
Very
that's part
quickly.
of it, but because yes, he sounded more like his character sound, right, in Arsenic and Old Lace than he did in this one. And I think maybe part of it though too is you are watching him and he's dressed up nicely. He sounds more articulate, and
Right.
maybe it's also you're seeing him in a different capacity than
Right.
normal.
Yeah, but there was only 2 years between this movie and Arsenic and
Oh,
Lace, but he had some significant health issues,
yeah,
so he aged a lot faster than normal. If you compare, uh, how quickly
yeah.
how quickly his looks changed
Mhm.
until the end of his career, and you start getting towards the end, and it's significant. It's very sad, I mean, he passed away young. It's a shame.
Yeah.
The talent, but so, what do you wanna I don't think that what do we wanna rate this? I don't think you can do anything else.
Oh, this is real
You
deal
you
for
just
sure.
can't.
It is a knockout film. It's clever. It's classic. It's endlessly watchable for
Oh, yeah,
sure.
yeah. I didn't full stop.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to say about it with that. And again, I'm not even a fan of the genre. If I this would be the one I picked, this is the one. So, I don't think we even have to, sorry, folks, but we don't even have to have a big, long discussion on that one because what's to say?
Yeah. No.
You can't approve of perfection, right? I mean, I think it's a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Which that doesn't always get it right.
We've already had
One
that
of the
discussion.
movies yeah, I'm just like, "What
It's a lot.
are you watching?" They give some of this other tripe stuff, so,
No.
I don't not to smack talk Rotten Tomatoes, what fools are running that one.
So we followed the Falcon. We've traded barbs with Spade and watched loyalty shift like San Francisco fog. Now let's crack open the hard-boiled crimes driving every double cross. Our first area of crime analysis is murder for a valuable object.
Mm.
Multiple characters lie, they're stealing, they're killing to possess a jeweled statuette, treating it as uh treating it so generally this thing covers homicides and violent crimes driven by the prospect of a unique treasure, jewels, interesting facts, stolen art, and antiques, and antiquities can move through black markets for decades, often never recovered. And province records are a major tool for law enforcement. What's a real life example of this?
The big one probably everybody more than likely remembers is, Edward Munch when they stole the Scream. You remember when the Scream that was all over the news. They got it back in the Madonna, and then I was at the museum that they had gotten and stolen all this. I mean, it's these art museums, believe it or not. You think they'd be more secure, but they get in sometimes. And this, luckily, this was in this particular case what recovered. And when some of these art thefts weren't, and then you have what this super sad was when you talk about the looted antiquities in conflicts. It came up in Nazi Germany, but other Iraqi, Syrian,
Yeah.
these sometimes those are never recovered. They're gone forever.
Whether they were destroyed or they're just in personal
They're in personal collections.
or
Yeah.
maybe they were hidden, but the people who know where they hid are gone now.
That's
So
the
maybe
saddest one.
they'll be discovered again. And I think sometimes they are, but if it's in a personal collection
Yeah.
and they don't
You're
have to sell it or never revealed or never found because through law enforcement, yeah, it's
Mhm.
disappeared, which is very
So
unfortunate.
yeah, like in the Isabel Stewart Gardner Museum heist, that was in 1990. Those were the ones I was hoping they were never recovered. They go to crime syndicates. You're probably never going to see them again. They're hanging on somebody's wall, and it's not like they're going to show up at Christie's at some point and be
Right.
sold. So if you're lucky enough to get them back, like they did with the Scream, yay! But just think of over history how much just the ones that make me the saddest are the conflicts
Yeah,
of what was lost during conflict
absolutely.
because when it was obvious that Germany was going to have to surrender in World War II, they purposely started destroying stuff so nobody could get their hands on it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just it's a sin. So you can see why maybe that was what the Falcon. Yes, it's valuable. Maybe the value is wasn't just they really don't ever talk about what it's. I don't remember them talking about
Well, they
the
talk about
financially worth. Tools.
They talk about the jewels and stuff. So, yes, there's obviously a huge value to it, right? Because of the jewels and stuff, which
It seemed like such more because he mentions the Green Street character mentions he's like he was going to go back to looking for it. I've been looking for. I'm going to close the chapter. I'm going to continue to look until I find it. It seemed like it was
but that's
something.
like a challenge, right?
It was
Like,
so much. It was bigger than that. It wasn't about jewels. It wasn't about anything anymore. It was closing a chapter. It was about a hunt that he needed to.
right.
This was his great white whale. This was
That's like the holy grail of what
yeah,
I
it
need
was
to,
the holy
yeah.
grail. This is
Yeah.
what needed to be done.
I agree. So let's talk about organized theft and conspiracy. So a small group of criminals, they cooperate, they're lying, they're betraying each other to secure and move the Falcon. And generally, conspiracies involve two or more people agreeing to commit a crime and taking steps forward to actually plan it, scout it, acquiring tools, et cetera, et cetera. Some interesting facts for the charges for conspiracy let prosecutors target planners even if the ultimate crime fails, which is fascinating. But the communications, like the letters, the chats, the emails, are often the key evidence. So, what are some real life examples?
Well, there was the 1950 Brinks robbery, which was considered at the time the crime of the century. But the one that I'm going to focus on is the Lufthansa heist, because everybody will know it, which was the one that was 1978, the JFK airport, that involved multiple mob connections, conspirators, and then there were afterwards there were murders to try to shut everybody up. If this sounds familiar, it's because it is. It is Goodfellas, and which is one of the greatest, if not greatest mafia movies of all time. Really top 100 of greatest movies ever. Sorry, there's just it's Goodfellas is almost a perfect movie. Sorry, it just is. I mean, it's just done so well. But again, if you've heard it, you know it. I can never hear Layla without hearing it when they play that in the movie, and all the people start showing up dead because they're cutting ties because they had told them, not to buy anything flashy and don't do it. And everybody goes out and starts buying things. But at the time, that was like huge, 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 huge. And I think the only reason they ended up finding out about it is when Hill turned informant. I mean, they suspected, but they didn't. Um, and now I'm pretty sure there's a movie about the Brinks robbery, but obviously I'm not a big fan of that one. So more than likely it was a Boston. So probably look up a Mark Wahlberg movie. I'm sure he's in it because I don't think there's a movie about Boston that Mark Wahlberg's not in or one of his brothers. So you can look that. I'll let you look that one up. But I'm sure there's a movie about it.
Sure.
But everything I know about history, opera, is if it has to either come from a cartoon or movie, or I don't think I know anything that's opera. I do read books, believe it or not, but I like to get most of my information from movies. So, but you think of have you? I know mafia movies aren't for everybody. I don't either. After Goodfellas, you don't need to.
See. So we talked about how watching a film from beginning to end. I'd say a lot of mafia movies are more I know parts.
Yeah.
How about that?
They're trying to repeat that formula. There's some that are just there's some other ones. No, just skip. Once you watch Goodfellas, you've seen it. It doesn't get done any better. It doesn't get it. That's it. Just watch that one.
So just looking really quickly to see if there was a Brinks movie. There is one from 1978, and it stars Peter Falk. So you might want to actually,
Who just
Peter Falk.
Oh, okay. No Mark. Well, I think.
Well, it's 78, so I don't.
Okay, well, I think he should do one, and he should do it without a shirt.
Well, there you go.
Just saying.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, he should do one, and he should rob the bank and rob the his truck without a shirt.
The entire time.
Yeah.
Actually, don't have a shirt the entire movie.
Yeah, just don't.
There we go.
If you've ever seen Date Night, he's like, for God's sakes, put on the shirt, Steve Carell, because he's shirtless the entire
Right.
But Mark Wahlberg, if you're listening, yeah, just make a movie without your shirt. Ever. This would be a good one. I hope he listens.
So our next area of analysis is double crossing within criminal circles. So the film's criminals constantly betray each other to gain an edge. So generally the theme covers informants, betrayal for lesser sentences, internal rivalries that lead to violence. Interesting facts: flipping, quote unquote, flipping an accomplice is a standard law enforcement strategy, and rivalries often create the witnesses who bring down larger organizations. So, between flipping and rivalries, or that's kind of interesting how law enforcement is able to bring down these activities.
And in these type of scenarios, the first one who flips you gets the best deal,
Yeah,
and they know that. And so they usually go after the weakest link.
yeah,
They do character studies, psychological studies, and they know who's got the softest underbelly, and that's who they go for. I've already mentioned Henry Hill, one of the more famous one, ended up in witness protection. He got kicked out of it, by the way, because he couldn't keep his nose clean, and his wife ended up ultimately in divorce. Another really famous one is Sammy the Bull Gravano, which was he was a member of the Gambino family that he flipped. And as we know, I mean, the movies are not wrong when they do this. There's a mark on their back.
yeah.
I mean, because they have to go either solitary or witness protection because they can't go into prison. Because as far as those type of things, those are starting to become. You don't really hear about that too much anymore. But now it's the drug. Now there's the drug cartels. The mafias look like they're a Boy Scout troop, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no honor among thieves. There's no honor. So, but you don't really hear them turning on each other too much. But
I think you're hearing
you
more about the trials or more rivalries,
right. It's the rivalries.
Yeah.
And then they're the ones that are gonna yeah.
Yeah. Well, just really quick, when we talked about the turning, the flipping, I should say, for mafia, it made me think. I went to Las Vegas, I guess a year or two ago now.
Mhm.
Went to the Mob Museum, and there was a guy that had written a book that had been previous part of the mafia, and so he was telling his story and essentially how he grew up. His father was part of the mafia, and he grew up in the mafia, and he definitely was on the killing side of stuff, but essentially he had that moment of like the flipping now, or let's just say getting out of it, right? So a little bit of flipping probably happened, right? Because they're going to flip you as much as they can. Hey, you got a family. You want your family to live. So
Well, yeah, the
I know it
threats are
was very interesting. If you've never been, very interesting museum for sure.
and underrated is women.
Yeah.
Um, you they can be a target too because a disgruntled wife.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there's been a couple of times that they've tried to take out the wife, the mafia, because she's a liability. Sing, I mean, nothing. A woman scorned.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there's a saying. The IRS has a saying that's like that how they find most of their tax cheats are through ex-wives,
Oh.
and because it's a woman scorned. So, and I think if the movie's to be believed, I mean, you got to take fictional license. I know they take fictional license with things, but Henry Hill's wife, at one point, they tried to take her out
Oh.
because they were worried she was a liability because she was implicated in a lot of she was going to be doing some time too,
Oh, okay.
um, over some drug running, and they figured she would flip because, well, how we women are. We would just
I mean,
women not
obviously.
because we're weak, but we couldn't. No, there's no weakness there.
No.
Piss us off,
Yes.
and you're yeah that
Will bring you down.
yeah piss us off.
We will bring down everything.
The world will burn at our feet. Yeah, scorched earth.
Exactly. So our final thoughts.
The Maltese Falcon is about power, deception, desire, wrapped in a polished black shell. Everybody wants the bird, but nobody leaves clean.
But because sometimes the thing you chase isn't worth a damn, it's just the stuff dreams are made of.
And nightmares too.
So to summarize today's podcast, we tasted Paris, a red wine from Bricks and Columns Vineyards. We paired the wine with the 1941 film The Maltese Falcon. The film was directed by John Huston and starred Humphrey Bogart, Mary Astor, Peter Lorre, and Sidney Greenstreet. Huston storyboarded every single scene before filming. He reused many of the scenes from an earlier 1931 version of the same story. This film is the third adaptation of Dashiell Hammett's 1930s hard-boiled novel. We wrapped up our session today by discussing criminal themes of murder for control of valuable property, organized theft and conspiracy, and lastly, double crossing amongst criminals. So for our booby trap scorecard, our wine verdict was It's sippable for sure.
Absolutely.
Very delicious wine. Loved it today. For our film's real deal or real trouble verdict, obviously this is the real deal. And then there was kind of that booby trap moment where Bridget how do you say your last name? Shaughnessy, she's a storyteller. You must believe her. She doesn't just lie. She makes you want the lie to be true. But Sam Spade, he doesn't play, he doesn't play this out.
Play it, which is a famous saying.
Yeah.
I'm not playing this out for anybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that in everyday life.
There you go. So this concludes episode 2 from season 3 of the Movie Trap podcast. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and whatever you listen to for your podcast.
And as I mentioned in episode 1, please, and I'm going to say it every time, constructive and kind. What you think about our new format? We are really we're only two episodes in, but Tata put a lot of work into this. I think it's fantastic. We're really rolling through it, and I'm super excited about what's upcoming through season 3 and beyond. So just let us know what you think. Share the excitement. So for this episode's teaser question, and again, social media your choice to be answered. So if someone operates in a gray area, questionable actions but guided by personal code, are they a hero or a villain? What action tips the balance one way or the other? Very interesting question, because I thought this earlier, which was Sam Spade is such an enigmatic character because he's not always the good guy.
Yeah.
He's supposed at the end he's wrapping it all up and they're like patting him on the back, but you mentioned about the back and forth. He's a Boy Scout.
No.
Right?
No.
So very interesting concept here as far as. So give us your thoughts on that, please.
I think this is gonna hard too because it's one of those things. Are they fully hero? Are they fully
Anybody ever?
Yeah.
Are you ever good all the time? I'm not
No.
good all the time.
No.
Are you ever bad all the time?
No.
I think we all have. I mean, I've known people that are saints all the time, I suppose, but we all have duality in our personalities, right? So I love this question.
Yeah.
Hear what people have to say about it.
So until next time, keep your corks tight, your glasses full, and trust the code you live by, even when the truth gets messy. Cheers.
Cheers.